Hello, my name is Connor Highland. I'm a firefighter paramedic here at Station 27, and you're watching Report on Conditions.
This week, we're covering the Pyrite Fire that broke out in Jurupa Valley over the weekend. Then, we'll head over to Menifee to hear an incredible CPR save story. And in Idyllwild, we joined residents and local officials for a look at the fuel break that's helping to protect the community.
Engine 1 with report on conditions.
Hi, I'm Alex Azaguirre, and thanks for joining us on this week's Report on Conditions. First, let's take a look at a touching story about a CPR save in Menifee.
My name is Corbin Reinhardt. I'm a fire apparatus engineer paramedic with CAL FIRE Riverside County Fire Department. We were dispatched to a seizure call at Powerhouse Gym. Upon our arrival to the gym, we were being hailed by the Paris Command Center to notify us there was a cardiac arrest in progress. We located Kenny, the patient, down in the cardio room behind the treadmill in cardiac arrest with an off-duty police officer performing chest compressions.
My name is Cameron Reed. I'm a police officer with the Veterans Affairs Medical Center in Long Beach, California. Came in here and I was on this one. I was on one of these two Stairmasters, and you were on, I think, this third one right here. I saw Kenny in front of me and he kind of stumbled off of the treadmill. When he hit the floor, I got off the Stairmaster and went around to kind of figure out what was going on with him and call for help. I told them to call 911 and get an AED. I was kind of just shaking him, turned him on the side and checked for a pulse, and we checked his breathing and he wasn't breathing regularly. That's when I started rescue breaths on him.
I moved Kenny into place where we could work on him. Immediately started treating him.
I think the first compression was the most difficult because doing it on a dummy is different than doing it on a live person. After maybe like the first or second compression, I kind of got into like a rhythm.
Put him on our cardiac monitor, recognized he was in ventricular tachycardia. I immediately administered a defibrillation, and then we continued CPR on him. Our next pulse check rhythm check, he was in perfusing rhythm with a blood pressure. Truck 76 arrived and assisted us, made IV access, made sure he was stable. Got 12 lead on him and additional vital signs, continued to breathe for him, and transported him to Loma Linda, Murrieta.
Kenneth Hartley, 28 years old. I'm a reservist at March Air Force Base, and I'm also an EMT. And that day, I was on the treadmill, so I was probably gonna run 30 minutes and start on my leg workouts, trying to get ready for the CPAT. Having bystanders that were able to be directed by us to help with compressions definitely helped us in the outcome of this patient.
My partner would have had a ventilator or vice versa until we got more help. So
Yeah.
You freed me up and put him on a monitor. When I saw that rhythm, I was able to defibrillate him right away.
That's great.
And that's what they say, like your best chance of survival of a cardiac arrest is early CPR and early defibrillation. It affected my family a lot. When you see, honestly, your loved one die, it's scary. I mean, it's kind of cliche, but like, enjoy the small things. Like, you never know when it's your last day. I want to try harder than ever now to become a firefighter paramedic. I think that's what has made the greatest impact on me.
We always hope for the outcome that we had with Kenny. You know, he has a long life ahead of him now. But bystander CPR is very crucial to helping us treat cardiac arrest patients.
Just thank you for being there. Thank you for being so good at your jobs and knowing what to do, and you didn't have to think about it and just went to work. So I appreciate that, and thank you.
There's an entire network of fuels reduction and fuels breaks that surround the community of Idyllwild and the greater Mountain Center and San Jacinto Mountain Plateau. We are working together as cooperative partners to ensure that each of us is successful. Riverside County Fire, the CAL FIRE Riverside Ranger Unit, the United States Forest Service, Idyllwild Fire Protection District, and California State Parks. Each one of us has a specific area in which we are responsible to get that work done. We work together in planning, we work together on the ground in operation, and we work together in funding so that we can actually get these projects completed and maintained on into the future. I have been working with Bill Weiser, the Riverside County Fire Chief, with Chris Fogel, with Dan Olson for greater than 2.5 decades. And so over time, we have come together and collaborated on these projects and found that some years, one project would get approvals through the entire process, through NEPA, CEQA, AQMD, all the processes that need to take place. It was much better if we all cooperated, came together and worked together on the project that was approved. And then next year, when the next organization's project was approved, we would all band together and go attack that project together. In attendance today, we had interested citizens, and we had members of Board of Commissioners and a member of one of our local supervisors, Supervisor Perez. Folks from the science community, folks from tribal representation. We had a large tribal influence from the Cahuilla Band of Indians who actually had a lot of very good questions and a lot of insight as to how they might come alongside and partner with our agencies on some of these fuel reductions. We can't do this alone. We need the community, we need society to come alongside and support these efforts. Without their support, without them reaching out to their legislature, without them letting them know that they are okay helping to fund these critical projects, we will not be successful. We have an old saying that none of us is as good as all of us, and that certainly holds true here with this group.
Let's take this time to look over the last 2 weeks of call statistics. From August 25th through September 7th, your firefighters responded to a total of 8,220 calls for service. Of those calls, 6,360 were medical emergencies and 235 were fire-related calls. Let's look at a few incidents your firefighters responded to. In the early morning hours of Sunday, August 31st, firefighters responded to a reported traffic collision near the intersection of Rubidoux Boulevard and Fort Fremont Alley in Jurupa Valley. The first arriving engine reported a single vehicle rollover with one party trapped and a total of 4 patients requiring medical assessment. Firefighters made quick work of extricating the trapped patient, freeing them in about 10 minutes. All 4 occupants of the vehicle were assessed for injuries and declined further treatment or transportation to a hospital. The incident was turned over to the Riverside County Sheriff's Department for investigation. On Sunday, August 31st, firefighters were dispatched to a reported structure on fire in the 43,600 block of Jackson Street in the city of Indio. The chief officer was first to arrive on scene and reported a commercial building with an active fire that was in danger of catching the house behind it on fire. Additional engines, a breathing support, and a hazmat response were requested. Firefighting efforts were hindered by temperatures near 115 degrees and required rotation of multiple engine companies for rest and rehydration cycles. Firefighters were able to contain the fire and remain committed for about 2.5 hours. The property was turned over to the owner and Riverside County Environmental Health Agency for cleanup. There were no injuries reported to civilians or firefighters. On Wednesday, September 9th at around 4:30 in the afternoon, 911 dispatchers received multiple reports of vegetation on fire near the intersection of Mockingbird Canyon Road and Van Buren Boulevard in the community of Woodcrest. The first arriving engine reported a half-acre of vegetation burning at a moderate rate of spread. The battalion chief was on scene shortly afterward and advised the fire had grown to 2 acres and was burning on both sides of Mockingbird Canyon Road with an immediate structure threat. And he requested 4 additional engines. At approximately 5:30, the incident commander requested another 3 engines. Thankfully, with air and ground resources, the forward rate of spread of the fire was stopped before any houses were destroyed. Fire resources remained on scene for several more hours working on mop-up and building containment lines. The fire burned a total of 5.6 acres and no injuries were reported. On Friday, September 5th, multiple 911 calls were received reporting a fire that started on the north side of Highway 60 near the intersection of Granite Hill Drive and Pyrite Street in Jurupa Valley. The first arriving engine reported 3 acres burning in light flashy fuels, and a request for 10 additional engines was quickly made as the fire crossed over an easterly ridge and threatened homes. As the fire grew, additional engines, aircraft, and hand crews were requested to assist. Evacuation warning and order areas were put into place, and a request for an additional 25 engines was placed due to an imminent structure threat. Assistance was received from multiple allied and cooperating agencies, and the firefight continued for multiple days. 3 firefighters sustained non-life-threatening injuries and were transported to a local hospital for treatment. There were no injuries to civilians or any houses destroyed. As of this airing, the Pyrite Fire is now 100% contained. On Saturday, September 6th, firefighters were dispatched to a reported house on fire in the 21,200 block of Mosswood Circle in the community of Good Hope. As they arrived on scene, firefighters discovered a trailer on fire with an immediate exposure threat to structures and vegetation, prompting the request for 5 additional engines. Firefighters were able to keep the fire from spreading to the vegetation, but a total of 2 travel trailers, 10 vehicles, a semi-truck, and debris burned. Firefighters were committed for several hours for mop-up and overhaul. No injuries were reported. Let's take a moment to acknowledge all those who promoted during the month of August.
Did you know red flag warnings have been around since the 1960s? The National Weather Service created them to warn firefighters and the public about dangerous fire weather conditions. These warnings mean high winds, low humidity, and dry vegetation, the perfect conditions for wildfires to start and spread fast. Even small sparks from lawnmowers, chainsaws, or welders can start a large fire. When a red flag warning is in effect, avoid using these tools and be extra cautious. Prepare now, create defensible space, have an evacuation plan, and keep a go bag ready before an emergency happens.
That's all for this week's Report on Conditions. Follow your firefighters in action on our social media at CalFireRRU and stay up to date on incidents happening countywide. If you caught any great footage of our firefighters at work or out in the community, send them to us at rrupio@fire.ca.gov. On behalf of your Public Affairs and Community Education Bureau, I'm Alex Azaguirre. Thanks for watching.